Hello everyone, my name is Inque, welcome to the Ink Storm, and we are back with another episode of Love, Death and Ranting, where we talk about a Netflix animated compilation series, which I and my special guests have thoughts about. Say hello.
Hello, I'm Ari, also known as Awfulwaful, and I am here, living my best life.
That's all any of us can do. So, today we are talking about, wait, which episode was this? Episode 4?
Suits, yeah,
Yeah,
4.
episode 4, Suits.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you won't have to sit through the extended unhappiness that we dealt with in the last episode.
God, no.
This one was just nice. It's basically the story of, it's basically what if a bunch of farmers had to defend themselves against stompy, generic alien monsters using giant stompy mechs. And
I mean, it's StarCraft. It's the beginning of the original StarCraft series.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's a little like Three Robots, and there's not a great deal to unpack there, but it's just a really solid episode, I think. I was actually having a thought as we were rewatching it for the review that it almost feels like a Pixar short with more violence and swearing.
Yeah, and I have to say, like, I've seen people talk about Love, Death, and Robots as, like, this is, what, we want more adult-oriented animation, and, Love, Death, and Robots is, like, is that, and as we kind of talked about with last time the shit that I yelled about in last episode, with, The Witness, is unfortunately a lot of times what gets created is shit that involves like sexualized violence, especially against women, which is gross. And this is a form of adult animation as well. Like, yeah, a teen could watch this just fine, but there's a lot of fucking R-rated movies that a teen could watch just fine,
Yeah.
There's no real trigger warnings for this one. I think there's a couple times they curse. There's a lot of alien blood. Like, one person dies, but like we don't even see his body because he explodes. It's not gratuitous. It's not like, I think there are some issues, I guess, going on the theme of what I tend to rant about, apparently, of the treatment of women. In that the three main women that we see, who aren't just background characters, two of them are the wives of mech pilots, and one of them is a mech pilot. Except the one who is a mech pilot doesn't seem to have any indication that she has a partner at all, and she's also older.
She is combat grandma.
Yeah, and she's also like, she has a line where she says, "And they call me crazy," and it's like, okay, that's great. The only woman who gets to go and fight the monsters is a crazy old lady, theoretically. But that's nitpicking in a lot of ways. It's a problem in my opinion, but it's not an issue.
Yeah.
Or no. Maybe backwards? I don't know. Whatever, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's playing off farming stereotypes in a lot of ways, and
This is a great use of tropes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The Western tropes.
And you do have the bit at the end where one of them actually uses a gigantic turret to kill the big alien, and while the other one covers her with a shotgun. So it's not like they're helpless stereotypes. They do get to do some stuff. It's just...
Yeah.
I think it's the sort of thing which, to me, feels more like an observation rather than something which requires finger wagging.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I guess, why I don't consider it an issue, is that they're still active players. Like, the two women who are ignoring combat grandma, oh shit, what was her name? Meg, I think. I could be wrong. But the two the two women at the home base who are trying to get everybody into the bunker and then are trying to fend off the DBs, I think is what they call them, the alien bugs.
Which feels like it's an acronym of some kind, but they never explain it.
Yeah, it's never explained. It doesn't have to be. Again, it's one of those things about in media res short stories. But they're still active players. They are active throughout the entire thing, and that's great. And that's why it doesn't super duper bother me. Like, they're not sitting at home with the children crying, you know. In fact, it doesn't seem like either of them have children, which is also a thing. I don't really care one way or the other. You know, maybe they just couldn't get fit in. Yeah, actually, I could imagine that getting really bloated if, like, one of them had kids. But one of the things I really liked, and this is such a weird small detail, but I want to talk about it before I forget, is the weird fucking mention of Michelangelo and Da Vinci.
Oh yeah.
Is such a tiny, itty bitty way to subvert the trope of, like, the farming hick stereotype.
Yeah.
Like, his wife says to him, you know, you're no Michelangelo. It's never going to be perfect. And the guy is like, you know, it's like, fucking, of course not. I'm more like Da Vinci. I have aesthetics and function. and I don't know why. I just, like, I really, like, considering how heavily this one relied on stereotypes and tropes in a way, without making them gross. Like, that was such a nice little way to, like, both, like, instill in us what his character is, because obviously he's kind of, like, a designer more than a fighter in some capacity, because he made that scarecrow, and he's talking about his mech like it's a work of art. But also to subvert that trope, because it's not just him, it's also his wife. So we can imply that it's not just them necessarily either.
Yeah. I mean, the main guy, Hank, has that throwaway line about quitting his job, so he was something else before this.
That's true.
So considering that this was a pretty action-intense story, they did a good job at creating actual three-dimensional characters, in as much as you can in any short story.
Yeah, I mean, they had, I think the difference is that they had an idea of who these characters were outside of the situation, and just let them act as they would act in that situation, knowing that history.
Yeah.
Without it having to be explained or spelled out or whatever. And I honestly, I really like this one. It's I think you've called it, I think maybe the first time we watched it, you said it was kind of boring or kind of dull or something.
No, I think I was referring to a different episode.
Were you? Okay. I could be misremembering.
I don't really remember. I think this is definitely a top 5 for me. It doesn't really super stand out, because it's a fairly simple premise and it doesn't do anything massively creative with it, but the execution is just wonderful, and that really elevates it for me.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a story. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I really like the final shot where it pulls out and explains, oh yeah, by the way, this is why there are all these aliens.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a nice, without having to, you know, expo dump at any point during the short. It's like, no, we just add this great cinematic effect right at the end to explain what the deal is, and it'll be a little bit of a reveal. It's not really a twist or anything, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's just.
But
here's a little bit of context as a bonus for the credits.
Yeah. It's cool. I mean, we wouldn't know otherwise if it was like a ruined Earth or whatever, you know. So now we know that it's some fucking space rock that humanity decided to farm on, I guess. Okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of possibilities that you could draw from that, but yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
And speaking of characterization, actually, well, I guess that was like a conversation ago, but anyway, I liked how each of the mechs kind of reflected both the people who piloted them, and they all had that kind of farm machinery feel about them, like the Hank's mech in particular. Until Unfall's miniguns, it could just be a futuristic piece of farm machinery. I thought that was a nice bit of design work.
I think, well, like, Jake, I think is the name of the other dude. His mech was called
Carnival?
No. Carnival. Well, yes, I think it's also called Carnivore, but it's referred to as like carnival like junk. So and if you look at it, like he's got this, it's like a fucking like a clown face, where the legs like meet the thing, rest of the body. You know, it really does look like it's like pulled off of like a rundown carnival thing, but it's not really clear if that's just painted on or what. And Hanks is kind of like that as well. But actually, I'd say that oh god, I'm gonna feel bad for misremembering her name, but Mag or the battle grandma, her mech really does look like a fucking what do they call, like a big tractor out in the field somewhere, you know.
Yeah, it's got that very very solid blocky feel to it.
And I think that was very well. I think you're right. I think that was very well designed. I mean, a lot of the visual designs of this series in general, but especially in this episode too, are just beautiful. Whoever they ended up getting to do the various bits of concept art and actual like animation and stuff, they did fantastic jobs. I can't really think of an episode that is dull, only duller than the others visually.
Yeah.
And this one certainly wasn't. This was fantastic. And this is the kind of shit I would really like to see when, you know, people are like, I want to make a more adult oriented animation. It's like you can do that without like the tits and the death, like, or the, well, you can do that without the tits and the I don't know what to call it. Gory deaths. Without the like, I get really fucking sick of the shock value shit. Like, you know,
it's like the line between adult, quote unquote, and mature. Like the way that the rating system functions, it focuses on adult content. When I think that when people express that kind of desire, what they're really thinking about is something with a bit more maturity. And this Suits definitely fits into that kind of category.
I mean, it would fit very cleanly into like stuff like Firefly, which is a show that has issues, but and I like a lot less in retrospect.
Overrated.
Yeah, unfortunately, but let's not get into it. But did a very good balance, in my opinion, of being mature without being grotesque. And again, playing with those kinds of tropes, the stereotypes of the people with certain types of accents, shall we say?
Yeah.
Both Southern and more not Southern, generalized American. I don't know. It has that kind of feeling, although I like this more than I like Firefly, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean...
God, I don't want to rag on Firefly, sorry.
I mean, if we keep bringing it up, so I'll throw out my 2 cents on Firefly. Firefly is a series which had first season blues and only 1 season.
Sorry, I cut out for a second there. Can you repeat that?
Firefly is a series which had first season blues and only 1 season.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a truth you can't ignore. And I mean, like, no, you know, I don't want to go into it too much because it's not about this.
No.
But no, Suits is excellent. Please watch Suits. Heap praise on Suits. I don't see enough love for Suits whenever I see shit about Love, Death, and Robots pop up. And I know maybe that's because it's not necessarily like the most...
It doesn't draw the most attention because in a way it's one of the least controversial episodes.
Oh yeah.
And I think a lot of Love, Death, and Robots is kind of... Like, this sounds really cruel, but it's kind of relying on shock value to get its publicity.
Yeah. There is one thing that kind of bugs me, but this is more of this is not a problem necessarily with this specifically, but with like media in general, is I didn't really notice it the first time through, but the second time through I kind of had this moment where I forget what point exactly it was. I think it was when the 2 others showed up on the ridge with Jake, and they started walking down the hill towards the incoming breach, and I just had this moment where I was like, why are none of these people like black or Latino, or why are there gays allowed on this planet? Like, neither of these pairs have children, so like what is happening? Like, you know, why couldn't one of them be an LGBT couple or something? Like, why couldn't one of them be black? And it's just like it's one of those, you know, I kind of, this is kind of going into more bullshit that is outside of the thing, but it's just one of those things that I noticed, because it's like the first time there, I didn't fucking think about it. Because you know, even with how much I try to pay attention to that shit, I'm still a white lady, and I can still ignore that in when I'm not paying attention. But, you know, on subsequent viewings, it's like there was no point to this just being about a bunch of white, as far as we know, straight people. This could have been anybody. It literally could have been anybody. They could have all been chicken people. It does not matter.
Chickens.
And there's a part of me that kind of wonders if like there was like a, you know, assuming it wasn't just because the creators didn't think about this in the slightest, if there was like meant to be like a twist of like, oh, this isn't Earth, with that reveal at the end. So it's like you see a bunch of people who are Southern farmers, And so, yeah, okay, we'd want to keep them all white so that we can keep that reveal at the end. And it's like, what century do you think this is? There are a lot of black people in the South.
Yeah. No, honestly, I think it's probably just something that they didn't think about.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. That's just...
I mean, it's
I don't know,
we barely thought about the first time through, so...
Yeah. It's just one of those things of, like... I think I talked about this in Sunny's episode, is like, in a perfect world, we could have, characters who can be anything, and that would be great. We could have lesbians who have sexual trauma. We can have bisexuals or whatever who are femme fatales, and it's not a problem. But it's like, I'm just sitting here thinking about this, and it's like, it really would have been great if, like, one of these groups or people or families would have been something beyond, like, a white person. That would have been cool. But at the same time, it's like, it shouldn't have been Jake. It should not have been Jake. That would have been kind of awful if the only person that died was a minority. That would suck.
We've been there.
Yeah. So it's like, I know you got to do this carefully, but it's like, it's not that hard, like, I don't know. This is just, I'm just ranting at this point. It's like, it's my only issue with this fucking episode. It's like, it's such an easy fix. Again, it's like my issue with Sunny's Edge is like, this is so good, except could we, like, change this one thing?
Yeah, well.
Otherwise, I got nothing. It was lovely to watch it. Imagine Hank as the most butch lesbian you've ever seen. Or a trans man. That's cool. Fucking Hank's a trans man now. Why not?
Well, considering what the writers did with Transfer the last episode.
Look, I'm not gonna give them credit for fucking making Hank a trans man. That's my credit. I made Hank a trans man.
Uh-huh.
I am the hero.
The hero that we are you the hero that we deserve or the hero that we need?
No, neither. I'm just the hero that's here right now, and unfortunately something better hasn't come along, but it will. Just wait. I'm sure.
That's fair enough.
Oh god.
Alrighty. Yeah, so next episode we're going for a turn for the silly.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is a serious documentary.
A serious documentary about deranged British demolitionists and the use of cats as weapons.
Yeah. Did you see The Mummy?
Look what I got. Yep. Anyway, yes. Next episode, Sucker of Souls, which is just hilarious and amazing. But we will get to that. For now, I have been Inque.
I've been me. Bye!
Until next time, folks.